Hello, welcome to Odds on Bundesliga Matchday 29. After seeing Bayern Munich winning at the Bernabeu, they are going full gas towards the treble. Why not? Still alive in all three competitions, Ronan, and also we have a hot Bundesliga, especially with the European spots, with the Champions League.
Yeah, we surely do. Everything seems to be kind of heating up for the Bundesliga at the moment. The relegation races even a bit interesting. So all ends of the table, apart from first, but we knew that already. So it's whether Bayern come in the Champions League or not for them, and then we'll have a battle for the rest of the Champions League spots to make it interesting.
Well, I have to say that Dortmund's numbers are almost Bundesliga, at least title contenders. They are doing a great competition, in my opinion, 64 points. But of course, it's impossible to catch Bayern Munich. 100 goals in the Bundesliga and still plenty of games to be played. So they are beating record after record. Well, let's analyze everything that is going on in Germany with you guys. Ask any question to Ronan, as always. And now let's go on with the show. And we start on Friday. This is the fight for the Champions League spots. Augsburg, Hoffenheim. It looks like once again Hoffenheim are not going to make it to the Champions League. They are 3 points away now from top 4. They lost to Mainz. We said be careful with that game. They were smashed by Leipzig in the last away game, and it's only one win in the last 6 games. Usually it's not easy to go to Augsburg, but they are not catching points lately. Ronan, it's true that their schedule was tough, but they lost to Dortmund, Stuttgart, or Leipzig, for instance, recently.
Yeah, 3 defeats in a row. They were finally able to end it last week with a draw against Hamburg. So I suppose a point is a positive result for them. But yeah, Hoffenheim as well. They're not on good results themselves at the moment. 3 games without a win. They lost at home to Mainz, like you said. So that is definitely kind of put a thorn in their aspirations of getting into the Champions League or getting into Europe next season. But they will be hoping to get points here. Both sides will probably be hoping to get points here, because Hoffenheim, when they played earlier this season, it was 3-0 to Hoffenheim in November in Sinsheim. So Augsburg will be hoping that it's a bit more like last season, where both matches were draws than the one earlier this season. Both teams, if you look at them in the table, they both have 5 draws each this season. Smart bet for this one is going for 5 stars for an Augsburg double chance, which probably isn't a outrageous effort on the AI's part. 178. I think that could be a good option there. I think Augsburg have a chance of getting something from here, but so do Hoffenheim. So then, in the words of Tom Rennie, this one screams draw. 390 for a draw. So yeah, we're going to scream draw this one.
Good one. Both teams to score for Okak Barrett, double chance, 1x for Sambil, not trusting Hoffenheim. You are doing well, I think, not trusting Hoffenheim. On Saturday, we have a great game. This one, Dortmund, Bayern, Leverkusen. Dortmund are going to finish in the second spot. As I said, the numbers are really good. Now it's 4 wins in a row. They beat Stuttgart away, which is one of the toughest games we have in the Bundesliga. And Leverkusen were able to bounce back and smash Wolfsburg 6-3. Great reaction after the 3-0 against Heidenheim. Still some options for the Champions League spots, 4 points away for Leverkusen.
Yeah, it is. They're scoring goals at the right time. They showed that they can score lots of goals. Patrick Schick keeps on scoring goals, as he did against Ireland during the playoffs. I will never forget that match. I keep bringing it up on every show we've had since. But yeah, Patrick Schick for Leverkusen. He became the first Czech player to score 100 goals in the Big 5 leagues. So, no team has ever done that before. And as well, against Wolfsburg, he became only the 3rd player who's played over 20 different Bundesliga opponents, I think. Maybe even more than 4 Bundesliga opponents, actually, that have scored against every team they've faced in the Bundesliga. So Harry Kane, Miroslav Klose, and now Patrick Schick. So it's kind of a list of Bundesliga legends, maybe, for that one. He's got himself into this. He scored against 25 of 25 different teams he's played against in the Bundesliga. So hopefully he'll continue to score here and we get plenty of goals in this one. But Dortmund have been fantastic recently, like it said. 4 wins in a row since that 3-2 defeat to Bayern Munich. They are scoring lots of goals. They're very good at home, as we know. Leverkusen, they're conceding lots of goals. They conceded 3 in both of their last 2 games, including against Heidenheim, like you said, and against Wolfsburg. The 2 teams that are going to get relegated, probably going to get relegated. They've been conceding 3 goals against. So that means that Dortmund definitely should be able to score goals here. Leverkusen themselves are capable of scoring goals. So the total goals market looks like a great one. Total goals over 3 is 188. I really like to look at a Borussia Dortmund win because they're on such good form at the moment. Leverkusen are quite inconsistent, like we've said. So a Dortmund win is 201, but I think one of our comments is saying Dortmund to win over 2.5 goals. Sandville Nick and a lot of numbers, but I'm going for even bigger. I'm going to go for a Tom Rennie style bet with our Alain Valnegri sort of bet that's over 3. It's Dortmund win and over 3.5 total match goals is 4 in this match. I think that could be on the cards here.
Entertaining game. This is what we expect. Also, 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 going for both teams to score in this case over 2.5 goals. So we all expect goals. Let's check our smart bet tool and see what the AI is telling us. And we see Dortmund to win is the top tip. There you go. The odds are quite good actually, since Leverkusen have been really inconsistent this season. Let's go to the next one. To the next game is Heidenheim Union Berlin. A couple of draws from Heidenheim, high scoring ones against Gladbach and Leverkusen. This is a surprise, and Union Berlin got another draw against Pauli, so they are 7 points away from the bottom 3. I wouldn't be surprised if we see once again another draw in this game, Ronan.
Yeah, this one, it is a game that kind of looks like screams draw because Heidenheim drew again last weekend. They still have no wins in 2026. The 6th of December was the last win. So yeah, that's a long time for any team to go without a win, and it's no wonder that they are going to be relegated. The 6th of December was the last time they actually got 3 points in a game. That was against Freiburg. Union, like you said, they drew against St. Pauli last weekend. But Heidenheim actually have some recent history on their side. They won each of the last 3 meetings with Union Berlin. Heidenheim win at 321. Would it be worth a look here? I know I said they haven't won since the 6th of December, but they have to win sometime. Well, they mightn't have to win sometime if they are the worst team in the Bundesliga, but if there is a time for them to win, maybe this one looks like the best, because it looks like this could be a very kind of nervy game. Heidenheim showed us a couple of weeks ago that they are capable of scoring goals against anybody, so maybe they could pick up some points here. It is a risk, and a risk that probably you should look elsewhere for a bit of value. So if you look at what AI is saying again, SmartBet is giving 5 stars to total goals over 2.5, and that's generally a good bet in the Bundesliga because the Bundesliga averages 3 or more goals a game, 3.28 goals per game last season anyway. So I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are. Could work it out. We'll get the calculator out. We'll figure that one out. But yeah, it's usually a good idea to go for the goals market in most games in the Bundesliga. So that's probably a safer option than betting on either of these teams to win the match, because it's kind of one of those ones where every outcome you wouldn't be surprised by. But yeah, so just go for the goals market.
Exactly. Well, although a couple of comments here are going for the goals market, but for the under in this case, or the draw, as I mentioned before. RB Leipzig Gladbach is the next one. Leipzig trying to qualify for the Champions League after missing this edition, beat Bremen, or smash Hoffenheim, so they are in the 3rd spot, and of course they are super favorites to beat Gladbach. Still in danger with the draws they got against Heidenheim and Cologne, but well, with +5 is very unlikely, I would say, that they are in trouble until the end of the season.
Yeah, I think things would have to go very wrong for them to be properly dragged into that relegation battle. I think they have a bit of a gap at the moment, and we're kind of running out of of games for the other teams to play to catch up points. So I think Gladbach should be all right. They probably won't pick up any points here, but they should pick up a couple of points between now and the end of the season to kind of get enough kind of draws or maybe a couple of wins or something like that to make sure that they're safe for next season. They have a few positives maybe coming out of this season if they stay in the Bundesliga, which they should. Yeah, 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗍 scored again last weekend. He's the second youngest player in Bundesliga history to score 2 Bundesliga goals after Yusuf Moukoko, who was the Borussia Dortmund kind of teenage talent that is now playing Scandinavian leagues. So they have a few positives to look at. RB Leipzig, their big positive will be getting back into Europe, whether it be the Champions League or the Europa League. That is the big question for them. But they are in great form at the moment. 4 wins in the last 5. They've won both their last 2 home games. So they are really kind of putting the full gas, like you said, to try and get into Champions League spots. And Gladbach back-to-back score draws. So that kind of indicates that this might be an open enough affair. The last 16 meetings, RB Leipzig have won 9 of those. So RB Leipzig win at 155. There's not a lot of value. It's close on a safe bet, perhaps, for this one. So total goals market again is worth looking at. Total goals over 3.25 is 195. And if you look at Leipzig, when they score their goals, they're scoring 1 goal per half. And Gladbach, they are scoring 0.5 goals in the first half of games and 0.8 in the second half of games. So that indicates to us that maybe the second half is where we're going to find the goals in this one. So total second half goals over 1.5. So 2 goals in the second half we're looking for 173.
There is no doubt among our users that Leipzig are going to win this one by a big margin. Some people here are going for Asian handicap. Even David or Samville also going for Leipzig -1, -1.5, 3-1, 4-1. So a big Leipzig win. Next one is Wolfsburg. Frankfurt, Eintracht Frankfurt are trying to look at the conference spots, although the numbers are not great. They drew with Cologne. They lost to Mainz. I was listening actually this week to an interview in a radio station with Albert Riera, and he looked happy at Frankfurt, but I don't think the numbers are backing him. So far, it's been a very difficult season for Eintracht Frankfurt, but and even they are not the favorites ahead of this game. Is kind of surprising, seeing how Wolfsburg are performing at the moment. There is no reaction. They are -4 with Pauli. So they are heading into the Bundesliga too, but still, Ronan, they are favorites, slightly favorites for this game.
Yeah, it's a surprise that they're slightly favorites, because if you look at the table, even the recent form as well, that these two teams do not seem like a team. This does not seem like a match where Wolfsburg should be the favorite of these two teams, because they've been terrible recently. Their last win was the 14th of January. 11 games since. They've only had 2 draws, and they conceded 6 last week, like we talked about earlier in the show. So they do not look like a team that is able to pick up wins. I'm not really sure how they're the favourites in this, but you probably can see maybe a little bit how the odds are even, because Frankfurt, like you said, they haven't been at their best under Riera. We're not really seeing the true Riera identity. He's not been giving us what he had promised maybe so far. We expected more of the great attacking football. We've got sometimes defensive football, sometimes attacking football. It's not been consistent since he arrived. Maybe if he has this summer to build on, to be able to bring in the players he wants, or the players that he agrees with the club board to bring in, then we might see some sort of a Riera identity in the team next season. But we're not really seeing it at the moment. And the hope for them then is that they can get a European spot and be able to get the money from that and attract the players to play in Europe next season. But it's pretty difficult when they're dropping points against the likes of Cologne like they did last week, the 2-2 draw. So yeah, this one is one where you might stay away from the 1x2 in it. The most common result in Wolfsburg is a 2-2. The last 4 meetings are all both teams to score. But Frankfurt, the one thing that have been able to do quite regularly, not always, quite regularly this season, is to score goals. So they're averaging 1.9 goals per game, and Wolfsburg only 1.4. That's why they're in the relegation battle. So Frankfurt themselves to score over 1.5 goals, I like to look at that. 2-10. I'm not going to rule out this being a 2-2, so I'm not going to say Frankfurt are definitely going to win, but I think they could score twice.
Well, the draw no bet, as Sambil is telling us, wouldn't be a bad option, in my opinion, as well. For Frankfurt, it should pay around 2, since they are the underdog. 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗍 is going for both teams to score for this game. Wolfsburg, only 5 wins this season, so it's going to be very tough for them to stay in the Bundesliga. And the late kickoff on Saturday's St. Pauli, Bayern Munich. St. Pauli, as we said, 4 points away from Wolfsburg and 2 points away from Cologne. So trying to avoid the bottom 3. They drew with Union Berlin after 2 consecutive defeats. And I guess if you want to face Bayern Munich, they chose the perfect date because Bayern Munich are thinking about Real Madrid after winning at the Bernabeu. Still was a challenging game. Still, the tie is open, so we can expect a full rotation from Vincent Kompany. The problem is that also with full rotation, they were able to beat Freiburg, and Freiburg is a better team than St. Pauli. And for instance, I guess, Ronan, if you are looking for individual markets, check out the likes of Karl. He didn't play at the Bernabeu. He scored in Freiburg, so could be a good option.
It could be, and there was an interview he gave before the match about how it was always been his dream to play at the Bernabeu.
Yes.
Vincent Kompany didn't even bring him off the bench. So yeah, might have to wait for future matches, but he's such a talented player. He'll definitely play there sooner or later. But yeah, this could be a match that Vincent Kompany does rotate a little. So otherwise, I think if this had been at another time of the season and just before the international break, perhaps we could have seen a full strength Bayern Munich lineup, but then you could be looking at something like Asian handicap -4 for a match like this, because this is going to be the match where Bayern Munich equal and probably break the Bundesliga goals record. Because like you said at the top of the show, they have 100 Bundesliga goals this season. The record is 101, so they only need 2 more to break it. And in the only thing that I'm kind of leaning on is the fact that Uli Hoeneß, the kind of godfather of Bayern Munich, he said a few weeks ago that who he thinks will break the record, and that's going to be Harry Kane, he said. So he wants Harry Kane to be the player to break the record, that he deserves it. Bayern Munich's attacking trio between them have 88 goals in all competitions this season. They took that to 88 last night in the Champions League. They will become the only third team in a Europe's Big Five to score over 100 goals in a season, and that in recent years behind Barcelona and Real Madrid. So yeah, that's what they're going for, to kind of get the records up there with the way Barcelona and Real Madrid have those sort of 100+ goal seasons, and Bayern Munich are looking to do it. Should do it this weekend. They have scored 4 times the goals that St. Pauli have scored this season in the Bundesliga. So that's just incredible. They won 3-2 in November. They won 3-1 November. They won 3-2 last March. So they should score 3 goals again here. You could also look at Tom Bischoff as an option to score goals. He has scored again last weekend. He scored 6 goals from outside the box since the start of last season. Only Harry Kane has scored more goals from outside the box. So he scored 7 goals in the Bundesliga, and 6 of them have come from outside the box. And the other one he scored was just inside the box. So yeah, if he gets the ball around the edge of the area, he could be a good option to look at as a 9-time goal scorer. But if Harry Kane is in the lineup, which I think could be possible because they might be trying to build his fitness, perhaps play him for an hour and then take him off and rest him for Real Madrid the second leg. If Harry Kane is in the lineup, I'm going full all in on Harry Kane. He's only scored once against St. Pauli so far, so I'd be looking to end that kind of disappointment. He will be looking to equal the Bundesliga record. He'll be looking to break the Bundesliga record. Harry Kane as a 9-time goal scorer, always a good bet, 190. Harry Kane to score 2 or more goals, so maybe the first and the second, and then take off at halftime, 450. But Harry Kane to equal the record, so him to be the first goal scorer in the match, I like it. It's also around 450, it's 420. So yeah, Harry Kane, if he starts, put all your money on Harry Kane.
Well, look, Akbar going for the same, actually. Harry Kane to score 2 goals if he plays, despite the goal, he looked like coming out from an injury, actually, at the Bernabeu. So he needs some more minutes to be at his best. Both teams to score possible here. By the way, Ronan, were you impressed by Bayern Munich, or also you think there is room for improvement for the second leg? I heard both things. Some people were impressed by the performance, and some others said, look, with a 100% Harry Kane or Luis Diaz, it would have been way worse for Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think it could have been 5-1. It wouldn't have been a surprise had it been 5-1 because Bayern had lots of chances. I know Manuel Neuer set the record for the most saves against Real Madrid in the Champions League, but some of them were straight at him. I know there was a few good saves. We saw the Manuel Neuer of old, but I think if Bayern Munich had been a bit sharper, there was a couple of chances in the last 20-25 minutes when Real Madrid were trying to score and they were on the counter, and there was one chance Musiala just put wide, and if he had scored that, it probably would have been one of the best goals we've seen in the Champions League. It was such a great team goal. That's I think what we've been waiting to see from Bayern Munich, because week to week against Freiburg or St. Pauli or whoever, you're not maybe getting the impression that this Bayern Munich is the best team in Europe. We're thinking, well, the opposition is St. Pauli, so of course they're going to do that. But the fact they can still play the same level and do the same thing against Real Madrid shows, yes, this Bayern Munich is, we should believe that they are good enough to be the best team in Europe this season, and they showed that they won in the Bernabeu for the first time in 14 years or something. So yeah, this is a Bayern Munich team that it's going to be hard to stop. So if they actually improve, if they were to get better from what we saw last night, yeah, they should be unstoppable. And I don't think whoever they face in the next round can stop them either. If Real Madrid aren't going to stop them with the referee deciding to book nobody, nobody can stop them.
Well, I'm not going to talk about the referee or the red card, for instance, for that. But yeah, let's see what happens. Of course, Bayern even showed a lot of character. They weren't shaky after conceding the goal. Many other teams got shaky when Real Madrid scored the first, even if they've been better. It was not the case of Bayern Munich. But next Monday, we will analyze, of course, the Champions League. For Sunday, we have 3 games. Cologne, Werder Bremen is the first one, and this is key for the relegation battle since both are very near the bottom 3. Cologne 2 points away from St. Pauli, Werder Bremen 3, so they both need the win. Cologne drew with Frankfurt, 3 consecutive draws, winless in 8. And Werder Bremen lost to Leipzig, but won in Wolfsburg before that. How do you see this game?
This has all the feel of a mid-table match, doesn't it? 15 against 14 to 27 points versus 28. Yeah, Cologne, to keep drawing matches. The 9 draws, which one of them was this match. They played against each other in November. The last 12 meetings between these sides, 1/3 of them have been draws, so 4 of them have been draws. Cologne's last 3 games in the Bundesliga, 1-1, 3-3, and 2-2. So yeah, this Cologne themselves are screaming draw. For the Bremen, maybe not necessarily. They haven't drawn since January, but yeah, this one, the most common result in Cologne is 0-0. The most common result is a 1-1. Correct score 1-1. I'm going for here as a 7. Yeah, this one, 𝗗𝗚𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 is saying it in the comments. I think everybody's going to say it. A draw. Draw. Yeah.
Screams draw, indeed, this one. And next one is Stuttgart, Hamburg. Stuttgart still in Champions League spots despite the defeat against Dortmund. Before that was a 5-2, remember, against Augsburg. Super favorites against Hamburg. Only 1 win in the last 7 games for Hamburg.
Yeah, it's not a good run for them at the moment, but yeah, they should be kind of happy with how the first half of their season went, maybe not the second half. But yeah, both teams, they lost to Dortmund the last month. That's to be expected. So yeah, Hamburg are not on a great run at the moment, but they did win this match in November and 2-1. Only thing is Stuttgart have won 5 of the last 8 meetings between the sides. Stuttgart, they are usually one of the best teams in the league at home. They're 3rd in the home table with 10 wins in the 14 matches they've played at home so far this season. The smart bet here is going X2, so it's giving Hamburg a double chance. But on the other hand, I think Stuttgart at 149 might look a good safe bet. Never mind Hamburg picking up a point here. The big talk around Stuttgart this week is Dennis Undav and whether he's going to get a new contract or how much he will be paid for that new contract, because he wants a new contract. The club want him to give him a new contract, but he wants to be paid like one of the best forwards in the Bundesliga because he is the 2nd top goal scorer in the Bundesliga this season. Harry Kane leads the way, 31 goals. Undav is 2nd with 18. Luis Diaz is third with 15. He wants to be paid. If he wants to be paid, he's going to have to score every week. He's going to have to score most weeks. So if he really wants all the money he's looking for, he'll have to put his money where his mouth is and score against Hamburg this weekend. So Dennis Undav as an anytime goal scorer is 192.
Well, we have the case of Girassi. Last season he was excellent, and this season I think a bit of a flop despite scoring 13 goals. I guess we expected a little bit more. Everyone is going for Stuttgart. Here, of course, Stuttgart to win doesn't pay that much. -1 could be your option. And last one is Mainz, Freiburg. These two teams are playing European football on Thursday. Mainz, Strasbourg, and Freiburg, Celta Vigo in the Europa League. So I think none of them care about this game. Ronan, Freiburg still can chase the 7th spot and qualify for the conference next season, but I'm pretty sure they are focusing on European competitions.
Yeah, I think Europe will be the way to focus for Freiburg. But the way Mainz have been playing at the moment, you wouldn't be surprised if they won lots of games between now and the end of the season. I know there's not a lot of games to go, 5 games to go, should say, but there's not a lot of games to the end of the season, but you'd be surprised if they won most of them the way they're playing at the moment. They were 17th in the table after 17 games at the first half of the season, the Hinrunde as they call it. So they looked like they were going to be relegated, but now they have a 99.91% chance of survival in the Bundesliga. In the Rückrunde, which is the second half of the table, the second half of the season, the table for that, they are the fourth best team in the Bundesliga in the second half of the season. 6 wins in 11 games. Dortmund will be top, surprisingly, and Mainz will be fourth. So yeah, what a kind of turnaround day from 17th in the first half to 4th in the second half of the season. Back-to-back 2-1 wins. They have 4 wins in a row in all competitions, 8 games unbeaten. And Freiburg, they keep conceding goals, and that's kind of seeing them slip up a bit and lose points. But they, like I said, they will have, I think, both eyes on the European game, whereas Mainz probably think they have a chance to win this one in between the European games. So correct score 2-1. I like to look up to have another 2-1. That's a 9. But Mainz win. I really like the look of Mainz win here, as does Michael in the comments, because Mainz are just on such great form at the moment. And if both teams are kind of half focused on Europe, Mainz have a better run in the league. They are home. Everything kind of points to them. So Mainz at 231 looks a good option.
All right. Michael indeed is going for the same. Sambil going for over. Captain Sluger also going for Mainz to win this game. And Smarbet also going for full-time result Mainz. So most of you agree. We can see it right now. Okay. This is it for our Bundesliga match day 29. A lot of draws this weekend. 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗍 is telling us, indeed, a lot of options for draw, but it's always good going for goals. Remember, this is Bundesliga. Well, Ronan, before we go with your safe bet and Aka, remember, guys, that we have our tipster competitions going on. There you go. The one for April with a Brazilian guy on top of the table. There is some money to be made there, 300 euros. And this is Rivals, where you can create your own tipster competition or join a contest. And also there is a prize pool in some of these contests. Safe bet, Ronan.
My safe bet this week is the trademark Bundesliga bet. Bayern Munich to win at 136.
Cannot be safer than this. And the Aka?
My Aka has Bayern to win, Dortmund to win, and RB Leipzig to win. So 3 favourites to win, and that's a total of 424.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Ronan. See you next week. Thanks,
Cheers.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.